Hi, boys and girls. I am so happy and grateful to be back in my classroom this week. Last week, there were so many interruptions, I was not able to get to the church and record the lesson. It was goodness. Did you do the lesson? Did you get to do it? King Josiah was 8 years old when he became king. Some of you are 7 and going to turn 8 this year. Oh my goodness. Could you be a king and rule a country? Oh, anyway, the fruit was bananas. Good and good for you. But this week, our lesson is on faithfulness. Faithfulness is like being loyal to something, like you're willing to care. If you say that you'll be there for somebody, you will. If you say you're going to do something, you will. You are faithful to do what you say you will. It's like being loyal. Like we're our best friends. We're loyal to our best friends. We'll do anything we can for them. They can depend on us. And so our story is from the book of Ruth in the Bible, verses 1 through 22. And I'm going to start on verse 3. It's about a woman named Naomi and her daughter-in-law, Ruth. Naomi's husband, Elimelech, died, so she was left with her 2 sons. They got married to women from Moab. One was named Orpah, and the other was named Ruth. Now Naomi's family lived in Moab for about 10 years, and then Mahlon and Chilion also died. Those were her sons. So Naomi was left without her 2 sons and her husband. Now, in those days, women didn't have jobs. They depended solely on their husbands and their sons to take care of them. And Naomi's husbands and sons were all dead. She was left with nothing. Who was going to take care of her? So in verse 6, while Naomi was in Moab, she heard that the Lord had helped his people. He had begun to provide food for them again. So Naomi and her daughters-in-law prepared to go from Moab back to her home. She left the place where she had been living, and her 2 daughters-in-law went with her. They started out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. Now, daughters-in-law were her sons' wives. And Naomi was going back to Judah, and she was from Bethlehem. And she needed to eat, so she decided to go back to her hometown. And her 2 daughter-in-laws went with her. Now Naomi spoke to her daughters in verse 8. Both of you go back. Each of you go to your own mother's home. You were kind to your husbands who have died. You have also been kind to me. So may the Lord be just as kind to you. May he help each of you find a secure place in the home of another husband. May he give you peace and rest. Then she kissed him goodbye and she broke down crying. Oh, so many tears. Now, Naomi didn't want to take her daughter-in-laws away from their families. She gave them her blessing to find a husband. And they said to her, we'll go back to your people with you. But Naomi said, go home, my daughters. Why would you want to come with me? Am I going to have any more sons with another husband? Suppose I thought there was still some hope for me. Suppose I got married to a man. Oh, and later I had sons by him. Would you stay single until you could marry them? No, my daughters, my life is more bitter tears. Your Lord's powerful hand has been against me. When they heard that, they broke down and wept again. Then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye. But Ruth held on to her. Look, said Naomi, your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her gods, Go back with her. But Ruth replied, don't try to make me leave you and go back. Where you go, I'll go. Where you stay, I'll stay. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. Where you die, I'll die, and there my body will be buried. I won't let even death separate you from me. If I do, may the Lord punish me greatly. Now Naomi realized that Ruth had made up her mind to go with her, so she stopped trying to make her go back. Now the two women continued on their way. And here's a picture with Ruth and Naomi, and Orpah's looking at them sadly, but she's going back home to her family. The two women continued on their way. At last they arrived in Bethlehem. The whole town was stirred up because of them. The women in the town asked, can this possibly be Naomi? Don't call me Naomi, she told them. Call me Mara. The mighty one has made my life very bitter. I was full when I went away, but the Lord has brought me back empty. So why are you calling me Naomi? The Lord has made me suffer. The mighty one has brought trouble on me. So Naomi returned from Moab. Ruth, her daughter-in-law from Moab, came with her, and they arrived in Bethlehem just when the people were beginning to harvest the barley. We'll have to wait till next week to find out what the rest of the story is. But think about the memory verse, all right? Where you go, I'll go. Your God will be my God. Where you go, I'll go. Your God will be my God. That's not very hard, is it? Ruth 1:16. Now, I have a coloring page for you. Which is a hint for next week's lesson. It shows you how God is faithful. Now, poor Naomi, she was brokenhearted. She just did not understand how God had allowed all this to happen to her. To lose her husband and then her sons. Oh my goodness. But Naomi was faithful. Naomi clung to her and said, I'm going to be there for you, Naomi. You can trust me. I am going to take care of you. I am not going to leave you. You can depend on me. Now, God is faithful. And one of the fruit of the Spirit is us being faithful. And as we're faithful, He is faithful. He's faithful to use our faithfulness to show how much God loves us. So make sure that when you tell your friends something, that you mean it. When you tell them you're going to do something, that you'll do it. And if you're going to pray for them, you will pray for them. They can depend on you to do that. Faithfulness. Doing everything you can to help another person. So, see you next week with the rest of the story about Naomi and Ruth.